Hi, good morning, all of you. Welcome to the session. So today we are learning about lean system, and it's a very interesting concept. We have learned about this concept. We have learned related concept in our section, in our chapter 1 and in chapter 2. And we will use all those topic whichever we have studied in chapter 1 and chapter 2 in this chapter, chapter 3. All right. So this lean was introduced first in Japan in Toyota company after Second World War. So my question will come here first. That first question is that what is the need of lean system? Why this new lean system was designed? What was the need? This is my first question. What was the need? Why this new system was designed? All right. So if you know that after Second World War, what happened? After Second World War, Japan was completely destructed. Japan was completely destructed, and people, they don't have enough resources. They don't have enough resources in Japan. So for that reason, the companies in Japan, they developed beautiful strategies, that to help the Japanese. W. Edward Deming and Joseph M. Duran. These two people, they went there to help the Japanese people. And these people, they start giving their philosophy. So we have learned about the philosophy of W. Edward Deming in chapter 2. About the quality. We have learned about how W. Edward Deming have emphasized so much on quality. He emphasized that how quality is important in any organization, how quality is important. He focused so much on quality. All right. So these philosophies given by W. Edward Deming was used by the Toyota companies and many other automobile and electronic companies in Japan. They start adopting these philosophies given by W. Edward Deming and Joseph M. Duran. They start adopting their philosophy. And their philosophy was so awesome that it brought revolution, quality revolution in Japan. It brought quality revolution. So now the first question comes here. Now the second question comes here that, okay, with the help of W. Edward Deming, these Japanese company brought revolutionary change in entire world actually. So actually these Japanese company, they become, quality product. They are known for the quality in the entire world. They have done such a revolution. So if you will see here, I have presented you two pictures. So what is the difference between two pictures? Can you see, observe these two pictures and tell me the difference between these two pictures? So I have shared here two pictures. Can you just see and tell me what is the difference between these two pictures? Are these two pictures the same? Is there any difference? Can you tell me quickly? What is the difference between these two pictures? Yes. If you will see these two pictures, what two difference you are finding? All right. So if you will see these two pictures on one side, you will find this work. A, right? Work done by A, and on other side, work done by B. So if you will observe these two pictures, you will see that work A is very organized, right? And you will observe that work B is very unorganized, very untidy, very clumsy, right? So this is unorganized. Now see what happened in Japan. So W. Edward Deming, he went there, he gave his philosophy, and obviously those philosophies was adopted by Japanese company. What happened? What W. Edward Deming have observed? He observed the difference between the way the Japanese were producing the goods and the way the people in US, they were producing the goods. He observed it. Oh, and he found that the work done by Japanese were in this way, right? Japanese were actually producing the goods in this way. In Japan, they were producing the goods in this way. And people in USA, they were producing the goods in this way. People in USA, they were engaged in production in this way, and people in Japan, they were engaged in production this way. Clumsy, untidy, it's all, unorganized. All right, he just observed it. And if you will see later on that actually when you work in this way, clumsy and unorganized, it result in lot of waste in the organization. Okay, this will result in lot of waste. You are actually, when your work is unorganized, the process of the work is unorganized, the procedure of the work is unorganized, it will result in lot of waste in the organization. And W. Edward Deming, he suggested us to produce a quality product right the first time. So that means our entire process and procedure should be well organized. If our entire process and procedure will be well organized, then only we can produce the quality product right the first time. So if we want to produce quality product right the first time, we need to organize everything. So this is what he observed. So here he is saying that, see, he observed the way the Japanese are working and the way the US people are working. He observed it. Then he found the work done by Japanese were very unorganized. Their entire procedure was all very unorganized. So he suggested them that, see, since your work is unorganized, it will result in waste. And if you will waste something, you will waste your resources, right? When you waste the resource, it will result in increasing the cost of the company. So when you waste your resources, you will waste. When you waste the resources of, just give me 1 minute. So what he observed in USA and in Japan. So he observed that the work in Japan was very organized. Their work was very organized. And then he observed that the work in USA was very organized. And he observed that the work in Japan were very unorganized. Okay. The work was very unorganized. Now, since the work was very unorganized, this resulted in waste. Now, the point is that when we waste something, we will study. In this chapter, we will study about the waste, right? Now, it is just a one word, but it brought all the revolutions. So if you will see, when organization have any waste means if you are wasting something now, it will result in waste of resources. You're wasting the resource of the company. Maybe you're wasting the raw material resource of the company. Maybe you're wasting the labor efforts resource of the company. Maybe you're wasting light, electricity of the company, resource of the company. Nothing is free in this world, right? We have to make the payment. We get nothing for free. We have to make the payment for electricity bill. We have to pay the labor, right? We have to make the payment for the raw material. We have to pay money for the machines, for their repair and maintenance. Nothing is free, dear. Nothing is free, and we have to make the payment for everything. So the point is that if you waste something, you will waste the resource of the company. And we need to prevent the resource of the company. We need to prevent it. All right, so if you save the resource, you will save the cost of the company. When we save the resource of the company, we save the cost of the company. All right, okay. So what is lean now? So lean means when we want to give value to the customer, and our focus is to eliminate all the waste. We have just learned now that Japanese, the way they were producing the goods, the procedure, right, that all result in waste in the company, right? And here the aim was what? The aim in case of lean system, aim was to remove all such wastage from the organization. Their aim was to remove all such wastage from the organization. And their aim was what? Continuous improvement. continuously improve the organization. So if you will see, this is lean system. What is lean system? Lean means where we want to add value for the customer, where we want that our entire process should add value to the customer. And what is lean? Lean is that where we want to remove all the waste from the organization. Lean is where we want to focus on continuous improvement. We want to continuously improve the organization is lean. All right. So lean means all these words. We want to continuously improve the organization. We want to remove all the waste from the organization, and we want to create value for the customer. Now, the point is that you must understand the meaning of these words. What is value, ma'am? Now, ma'am, what is this waste, ma'am? And ma'am, what is this continuous improvement, ma'am? So if you will see, lean means add value to the customer, remove waste from the organization, and continuously improving the organization. And we have to understand these three words. Now, the point is that this lean system, all the things which you will study in this chapter. So if you will see, we will study here about just-in-time system. All right, we will study here about all 7 wasted. We will study about the waste which we want to remove, right? We will study about 5S methodology. We will study about total preventive maintenance. We will study about Kaizen costing, many other things we will study here in this chapter. You know what interesting thing is that these all were introduced first time by Toyota company. Everything which you will study in chapter 3 was all first introduced by Toyota company. So just in time was first introduced by Toyota company. Automation, everything was first. So it is also known as what? Toyota production system. Just in time system is actually known as Toyota production system, because you will study whatever you will study in this chapter. It was all first introduced by engineers, mechanical engineers, and many other people in Toyota company. They have developed all these beautiful business strategy. Yes, but the base of their strategy was W. Edward Deming. 14 principle we have studied in our chapter 2. We have studied about 14 principle introduced by W. Edward Deming. So these Japanese in Toyota company, they have adopted all the philosophy that was given by W. Edward Deming. So actually the base was W. Edward Deming for all their philosophy. Okay, so you will see PDCA cycle was given by W. Edward Deming, and that PDCA cycle was introduced in Toyota company, Kaizen costing, and Tahishi Ahono was a mechanical engineer who implement that Kaizen costing in the company. You will study like many strategies was all developed by Toyota company, and the base was W. Edward Deming's philosophies. Lean manufacturing. So this is lean manufacturing. Our focus is what? We want to create value for the customer in lean management. We want to remove all the waste from the company. And we want to focus on continuously improving the organization. We want to continuously improve the organization. All right. Okay. Now the question comes in our mind, what is waste, ma'am? So if you will see here, I have taken a picture. So here in this case, you can see some Japanese word. So what are these Japanese word? Waste, muda, Mura, and Muri. Muda, Mura, Muri, these are all Japanese words. And what is the meaning of these Japanese words? Muda means waste, complete waste. We will study about these waste, right? I'll teach you about these waste. Muda means waste. Muda means waste. Mura means unevenness. Okay, we will study about it. Muri means over button. Okay, let's see what are these words. So they are saying these are the waste, and waste, 7 deadly waste are visible waste for us. You can very easily see them, right? If you want to focus on them, you can easily identify these waste. Muda. And we have Mura and Muri. These are also waste, but actually they are invisible. And we have to apply our brain to identify Mura and Muri. Not easy to identify them, right? It is not easy to identify them. So let's first understand about these 7 deadly waste. Okay, so we have learned, actually we have Mura and Muri also. These are also waste. All right, but we will first see what are the common waste, 7 deadly waste, which are visible to eyes, which are very easy. You can identify in the company. You can identify them in the company very easily. Okay. So waste in US is also known as Muda, right? Waste is not required to complete. Waste is what? So we have learned in value chain analysis. If you remember, in chapter 1, we have learned about value chain analysis. Okay, so in case of value chain analysis, we have learned that we will study all the activity of the company. And in all the activities of the company, we will try to find what value added activities, and we will find the non-value added activities. Okay. This is what we have studied in value chain analysis, if you remember. And we have studied that we want to focus here. We want to focus on all value-added activity in the company. We want to focus on all value-added activity, and we want to remove all the non-value-added activity from the company. So these are what? Pure waste. And we want to remove them. If it is waste, we want to remove them. This is what we have studied in our chapter 1. Value chain analysis means focusing on value-added activity, and we will try to remove all the non-value-added activity from the company. All right. Okay. Now the question comes, okay, ma'am, non-value-added activity means waste. Yes. What are these waste then, ma'am? Can you explain us? What are these waste in the company? So if you will see here, you can learn it in this way. Team would transportation, inventory, motion, waiting time, overproduction, overprocessing, and defects. These are 7 deadly waste in a company. Right? Now let's try to understand. These are just word now. Transportation, how transportation can be waste, ma'am? How inventory can be waste, ma'am? How motion or waiting can be waste? Okay. Let's try to understand how these words can be waste in a company, right? They are known as 7 deadly waste. Let's try to understand how these words can become waste in the company. All right. Okay. So again, I want to explain these with the help of image. Okay. So if you will see just in front of you, I have taken an image of a warehouse. You know, in case of warehouse, we store the raw material. You know? In warehouse, we store the raw material. And you can see, I have seen big plants. Like if I'm from Delhi, so in Delhi, I have seen in Gurgaon, there is a huge manufacturing plant of Maruti, huge, right? So when the factory is huge, you can imagine they must have a big warehouse. And in warehouse, they store the raw material. So the point is that first point is storage of raw material. First point is what? Storage of raw material. If you remember, in last session, we have learned about pull supply chain. And we have studied about push supply chain. And I told you in case of push supply chain, it work on storing the raw material. We buy the raw material, we store the raw material in warehouse, we produce the goods, then we find the customer. This is push. We do the advertisement and we find the customer. This is push. What is pull? First, we know the customer. Then we will get the order from the customer. Then we buy the raw material. So if it is pull system, we don't need warehouse because we are buying the raw material when there is requirement. Otherwise, we will not buy the raw material. We will buy the raw material if there is requirement. Otherwise, we will not buy the raw material. Okay. But now if you will see here, generally what happened? Generally, this happens that we purchase the raw material and we store them in warehouse. So storage is always result in actually waste. है ना? Waste. How storage can result in waste? Storage of inventory in warehouse always result in waste. Why? So give me 1 minute. When we store the inventory in warehouse, it always result in waste. How, ma'am? So when we store raw material in warehouse, you know what? We need carrying cost first. I hope you know carrying cost and order cost. It actually increases the carrying cost. Like, for example, you have to pay the rent of the warehouse. You have to pay the rent. You have to pay the salary of storekeeper. Salary of storekeeper. There is chances of obsolescence. Inventory may become obsolete after some time. That will also be carrying cost. You may need insurance of inventory. Insurance of inventory. That is also carrying cost. So the point is that when you're buying the raw material and you're storing the raw material in warehouse, it will result in what? Carrying cost. The company will have huge carrying cost. Right? The company will have to incur a huge carrying cost. You can see here. And if, for example, the company is not storing the inventory in warehouse, the company will manage to save all these costs. If there is no warehouse, if the company is not at all require a warehouse, company will save all these carrying costs. So actually, if you will see storage of inventory, first point is what? Storage of inventory. Storage of inventory storage is actually a kind of waste. Here, you are actually incurring carrying cost. Why do you want to incur carrying cost? So this actually happened when you follow push supply chain. When you follow push supply chain, you are producing the goods and then you're trying to find the customer. So in this case, the company will have huge carrying cost. We don't want them in the company. This will result in what? Cost, resource. You are wasting the resource. Okay. Then the next point is what? If you will see in this picture, what do we have here? If you will see this picture, what will happen here? You can see that you can see these truck. So in warehouse, inside the warehouse, these people uses such type of trucks. What is the use of these trucks? For transportation of the material inside the warehouse. So you can imagine a company have huge, big warehouse. So if a company have a big warehouse, obviously company need internal such type of vehicle to move the inventory from one place to another place. Right? When the inventory is moving from one place to another place, it will result in again waste. This is also a waste activity. Why are you moving unnecessary your raw material? When you will move your raw material unnecessary, it will result in, see, you are wasting the efforts of this person who is moving the truck. And you are wasting the efforts of this truck also. Why? Why you are moving the raw material unnecessary? You can produce the goods without warehouse. You can produce the goods without unnecessary movement of these raw material, unnecessary transportation of these raw material. So the point is that first they have focused. We don't need warehouse. We don't need actually warehouse. Okay. Do not buy the raw material and do not keep them in warehouse. Do not buy the raw material and do not keep them in warehouse. Okay, this is the first point. We don't want warehouse. And the second point is that we do not want unnecessary movement of raw material, transportation of the material. We do not want it. All right, so we do not want these two things in the company. So you can see, so first, we do not want unnecessary storage of raw material in the company. And the second one, we do not want unnecessary movement of raw material from one place to another place. We do not want it, right? That the inventory is moving unnecessary. Why the inventory is moving unnecessary from one place to another place? Is it creating any value for the customer? Is it actually required? The warehouse is actually required. Yeah, you have to check it. Is it actually required? Is this movement is actually required in the company? Unnecessary, the raw material is moving from one place to another. Is it really required? All right. So these are two wastage. Now let's see the next wastage. So the next waste is what? Unnecessary motion of the employee in the company. So generally what happened, the factories are very big in size. Factory are very big in size. So maybe your one machine is placed here, machine 1, and your another machine is placed here, machine 2, and another machine is placed here, machine 3. And for example, the distance is very high and you have to move the inventory from one place to another. So for example, you have introduces the raw material here in machine 1, and machine 2 is placed, for example, 100 meter from each other. Or for example, just consider 10 meter from each other. Machine is placed 50 meter from each other. Thoda sa dur, right? So you have to, now output of material from here, you have put input in this machine, raw material, then whatever the output you will get here, this output should have to move from here to here. This output have to move, right? And this output will become input here. Okay. So this unnecessary motion here is not required actually. Why are you, and you know, for moving this inventory from one place to another, maybe we need two things here. Maybe we need two person. One person is here and he have a trolley. Okay. In this trolley, he is taking the raw material and he is taking the raw material to this place. Okay. And one person is needed here who have a trolley and he will transfer the empty trolley to here at M1 machine. So in this way, we need a two person. These two person are actually engaged in moving the raw material from one place to another, from one machine to another machine. Similarly, the output of this machine is input for this machine. And then after that, we will get the final product. Okay. Output of one will become the input of other, and then we will get the final product. Give me 1 minute. So the point is that output of one will become input of other. And you can see, again, we need two person here, one person here, one person here, and these two person will have a trolley and they are moving the inventory from one place to another. So you can see actually here two efforts of two person are actually, we are wasting the efforts of two person. Like just, you can see this image. So you can see if the machine are placed apart from each other, machine 1 is here, machine 2 is here, and the distance between machine is huge. Unnecessary, these two people are moving and they are taking the inventory from one place to another place, one place to another place. Unnecessary, the inventory is moving from one place to another place, which is not good for a company, right? When the inventory is moving unnecessary from one place to another place, it will actually result in waste, right? So you can see I have taken one more example, motion. For motion, the inventory is unnecessary moving from one place to another place. Inventory is unnecessary moving from one place to another place. So the motion of this person unnecessary from one place to another place is actually a waste. This is actually a waste. For a company, this is actually a waste. I hope this is clear to all. This is clear to all. So this is also a waste where here we are wasting the resource, where here we are storing the material in warehouse. So carrying cost is a waste. Here, the truck is moving inside the factory unnecessary because you have a warehouse. So obviously, maybe you need a truck to move the inventory from one place to another, right? This is also a waste. Now here, just labor is moving, machine are placed apart from each other. For that reason, the labor are moving unnecessary. So the motion of these labor is actually a waste, right? And we will then try to find out how to remove them from the organization. We will see that how we can remove them from the organization. Now, if you will see, waiting time is also a waste. You know? So let me try to explain you the waiting time. We have learned about the bottleneck activity. So for example, when we are producing the goods in batches, okay, batches, for example, we have put input of 100 material here, 100 raw material here. This person is actually working on 100 raw material, then it will be shifted to this, then it will be shifted to this person, and then it will be shifted to this person. Then you finally get a final product. You will finally get a final product. You have introduced the raw material, and at the end, you will get the final product. So the material is actually moving in this way. Now, the point is that if any of the worker will be slow, like here you can see this worker is slow, or maybe the machine is slow here, right? If any of the worker is slow here, the activity of this person is slow, and obviously he's producing the goods in bulk batches. So what will happen? This will increase the waiting time of this person. This person have to wait. He has to wait until C will transfer goods to them. Until then, we can't produce the goods. So for that reason, C has to wait here. C has to wait here for the material. Once he will receive the material from C, then only he can do the production. So the point is that this will result in waiting, unnecessary waiting. Faltu mein he is waiting. He is doing nothing. He is just waiting that when I will receive the product, when I will receive the raw material from C, then only I will produce the goods. So here, actually, you are wasting the efforts of this person. You know, this machine, this resources, all the resources which you have here, you are actually wasting those resources because this person has to wait for the production, right? So we have to remove the bottleneck from the organization. We have learned, right? If there is any slow process, we want to remove them. We want either you will train the person, or you will replace the machines, or you will do something that will help you to remove the bottleneck from the company, and that improve the process of the organization. All right, so this is also a waste in the company, waiting time. So waiting is also a waste. Okay, then overproduction. Let's talk about overproduction. Overproduction is also a waste. Actually, the most deadly waste is overproduction. In any company, overproduction is the most deadly waste. Overproduction is the most deadly waste, right? So let me revise a concept which we have studied. So we have studied in supply chain that we have two types of supply chain. One is push and one is pull. So what happened in case of push supply chain? First, we purchase the raw materials. Then we store them in warehouse. Then we use them in factory for the production. Then we will get the final product. Right? We will get the final product. We get the final product from the factory. Then what will happen? When you get the final product, then you will find the customer through marketing. You will do the marketing and advertisement, you will find your customer. Then you will sell your product to the customer and you will provide after sale services. This is what push supply chain. In this case, it is possible since you don't know the exact demand. You don't know the exact demand in the market. Exact market demand, we don't know. So what will happen? It is possible that your production it is possible that your production is more than the demand in the market. So this will result in overproduction, or it is possible that the production is less than demand. This is what overproduction. Right? So you can imagine, see, I told you in last session, push system result in lot of waste or non-valued activity in the company. So you can see when you are storing the material in warehouse, you are incurring what? Waste of inventory. Storage of inventory in warehouse is a waste. Then when you are storing the inventory in warehouse, unnecessary movement of raw material, transportation, this is also a waste. Then since your production, if your production is more than demand, this will result in overproduction, and overproduction is also a waste in the company. So you can see, if the company is following push supply chain, when you don't know exact demand and you're producing the goods maybe more than demand or less than demand, it will result in what? Waste in the company, which is never desirable. So overproduction is also a type of waste, right? And this is the worst type of waste, and we should focus on removing this waste. You can see here, this one waste will result in many other wastes. Like you can see, and if you are producing the goods overproduction, you need space to store them. Unnecessary, you need space to store them. Final good, you have the final good, but you don't have the customer. You have the final good, but you don't have the customer. So this will unnecessary result in unnecessary storage of final good. You need some place now to store the final good. Then when you have stored the final good and there is no demand, obviously the quality of the final good will gradually reduce if you will just store the final good and it is not moving, right? You are not able to sell it to the customer. So that will also result in waste for a reason, because you have stored them. With time, their quality will reduce, right? With time. So it will result in what? Storage of inventory. With time, their quality will reduce, and obviously, many other type of waste. So overproduction is the most deadly waste. We always want to remove them from the organization. So I hope you can understand these type of waste. Overproduction is not required in the company. Okay. Next is what? Next is overprocessing. Now the question is, what is overprocessing? Overprocessing means any other unnecessary work you are doing in the organization and which is not at all creating value to the customer. If you have any other process in the company which is not at all creating value for the customer, that activity will be considered as overprocessing. So I have just taken an example here. You can see these two examples. So when you can do the same work and you can help your worker in this way, right? So if a worker want to take the inventory from one place to another place, he can easily use such trolleys, and hence he can easily move the inventory. So if it is possible to move the inventory in this way, why are you unnecessary overburden your employee with the work? Unnecessary. This is what you are just, harassing the employee. You have unnecessary harassment of the labor. So this actually, see, if the labor will become tired of just, taking the inventory in this way. So what will happen? Maybe his efficiency will reduce for producing the goods. So for that reason, remove all such unnecessary work which is not required, right? So overprocessing means any unnecessary work, right, which you can remove from the organization and you consider it is not a value-added activity, right? If the labor will take the inventory in this way, it will not create any value to the company. And if the labor will take the inventory in this way, obviously, he will not become tired. He will be energetic and efficient. So when the laborers are energetic and efficient, obviously, they can produce more goods. All right, they can produce more goods. So for that reason, this is the best way. Remove all such unnecessary work from the company. These are all non-valued activity. These are all non-valued activity. So what do we want in the company? Over processing should be avoided. We want to remove over processing from the company. Now the last one, rework. Rework is also a non-valuated activity and not at all desired in the company. Okay, rework. Now, what is this rework? See, rework is done when you know that you are not producing a quality product right the first time. So when you know you are not producing the quality product right the first time, and when you know that you are producing defective units, you know, when you know you are not producing the quality product, your entire process is not good. That means, you know? So the point is that when you are producing defective unit, then what will happen? If you find them, obviously you will do the rework on this. You know? You will again work on this. So see, for a raw material for which you have already worked, you have already prepared the goods, now you found the defect and again you are reworking on it. Again, you are wasting the labor efforts of the company. You are wasting the labor efforts of the company. When the labor will put the efforts again, he will use other resources. He will use the electricity of the company. He will use the space of the company. So the point is that when the labor will work again, what will happen? It will again create waste in the company. When the labor will work again, it will result in waste of the company. Rework is actually a waste in the company. It's a waste. It's a non-valuated activity. All right. So you can see these are all what deadly waste in the company, and we should always try to remove them completely from the organization. I mean, they are not at all required in any way in the company. Okay? These are the waste which was found by W. Edward Deming. Obviously, he gave this philosophy, and after that, Toyota company, they found it. Ab dekho, after Second World War, Toyota, they didn't have space. Why? Because everything was destructed. They don't even have the proper factory for the production. They don't even have the warehouses for the production. So actually, they have no option. They have no option to store the inventory. Because they have no warehouse. Because the country was destructed because of atom bomb, Second World War. Japan was completely destructed. For that reason, the factories and the business was all destructed. Now, Toyota company, after Second World War, their all factory warehouse, everything was destructed. So they don't have warehouse and they don't have factory, right? So what happened? Instead of buying the inventory and keeping them in warehouse, what they have done? They have decided, okay, since we do not have warehouse, we will not store the inventory. We will first receive the demand of the customer. After receiving the demand, we will buy the raw material. Otherwise, if there is no demand from the customer, we will not buy the raw material. And actually, this is how the lean system was started. I mean, it was by chance, actually, if you will see, that they don't have warehouse. It was all destructed. So they have decided, okay, we will do the production once we will receive the demand. We will receive the demand, then we will buy the raw material because we don't have space to store the raw material. And if we will produce the goods and we don't have the demand and we will produce the final good, we don't have space to store the final goods. So this is what happened in Japan, right? They don't have space. They don't have warehouse to store the raw material or final goods. And for that reason, they have decided, okay, we will follow pull processing, right? This is pull processing. Pull matlab first we will receive the demand. Accordingly, we will produce the goods and accordingly, we will buy the raw material from the supplier. This is what pull processing system. All right. Okay, and you can imagine, and they start adopting the philosophy of W. Edward Deming. We will produce the quality product right the first time. So obviously, no defect. They are wasting on producing no defect. I mean, this is so amazing. No defect, no mistake at all. I mean, they know that the process, I mean, you will study later on, they are focusing on improving their entire process, entire procedure in such a way that they know that they're not at all producing even a single error. They have not even a single defective unit. They don't have even a single mistake in the company. Awesome. Not even a single mistake. So you can imagine, right, what a beautiful strategy they have adopted, and because of which not even a single mistake will happen, not even single defect will happen in the company. All right. Okay. So what is the characteristic of lean system? We have just learned. Lean means we want to create value for the customer. So we want to focus on value-added activity, and we want to find out all the waste from the customer. We want to find all the non-value-added activity, means we want to find all the waste from the company. So you can see it is actually focused on finding the waste and removing them from the organization. All right. And it is actually focused on improving their entire procedure or process of the company. They actually focus on improving entire procedure of the company. All right. So it actually focused on removing all the waste, right? Like zero inventory, no storage of inventory, right? No storage of raw material or final good. There is no storage of raw material, no storage of final good, no waiting time, and they work on full processing, they work on continuous flow production. It is all lean management. All right. Okay. So Abhi, maybe it is not clear. I'll explain you more. So the point is that if you will see, lean is entirely focused on improving the procedure or process of the company. They want to remove all the waste from the company. All right. Okay. Next. So if you will see, in lean production system, we will adopt all these things. We will study all these things in our chapter. You will study about just-in-time system. You will be studying about the Kaizen costing. You will be studying about 5S methodology. You will be studying about the total preventive maintenance, productive maintenance. And if you will see, these system was all introduced by Toyota company. Right? Later on, Six Sigma is actually a response of US company. Okay? So this was all happen in Japan, and just adopting these strategies, the Japanese company, they have become a threat for US company. Can you imagine? They have created third largest economy in the world, and they start becoming a threat for US company. And for that reason, in response to all these beautiful business strategies, they have introduced a Six Sigma. We will study later on. Let's go one by one. So here we are focusing on lean production that was first introduced in Japan by Toyota company. So you can see it is focused on what? Quality right the first time. They don't want to produce first defective unit and then they want to rework to remove them. No defect is required, because rework is a waste. So they don't want to rework. No rework. If we have done some work, we will do it in such a way that we don't want to do it again, right? So our work which we will do for the first time should be so perfect, our entire process and procedure should be so perfect that we don't want to do the work again. Simple. So quality right the first time. When we are producing the goods, we will produce the quality product right the first time. When we are doing something, we will do it in such a way that it will be perfect, and we don't require to do the same work again. So the point is that they are actually focusing on process, improving their process. They're actually focusing on removing all the 7 deadly waste from the company. And it is not a one-time process. Okay, we have learned in PDCA cycle of W. Edward Deming. Continuous improvement, we have learned that W. Edward Deming have given PDCA cycle. Now, PDCA cycle means what? Continuously improving the organization, means finding the 7 deadly waste, focusing on the value is not one-time process. It is not one time. Okay, these are the value-added activity, we will focus on them. And these are the non-value-added activity, we will remove them. So this is not a one-time process. Actually, it is continuous process. We will continuously improve the organization. We will continuously improve the process, right? We will continuously improve everything in the company, continuously. It is never ending process. Improvement is never ending process. We have learned in PDCA cycle, no system, no process, no procedure, no organization is perfect. There is always some scope of improvement. Keep identifying them. It is responsibility of everybody in the organization to keep identifying all the defects, all the non-valuated activity in the company, keep identifying them, and we will put our efforts to keep removing them from the company. So this is what continuous improvement. The company will work continuously on improving their organization, continuously working on finding the value-added activity, continuously working on finding the non-value-added activity, means the waste in the company, and continuously working on removing them from the company. All right, so this is what we have learned. Okay. So lean means zero waiting, no wastage in the company. We will work on full processing. Continuously, we are improving the organization. And it's a never-ending process. It's a never-ending process. All right. Just in front of you, I have taken an image of I have taken an image of just-in-time system, that how we can produce the goods using just-in-time system. A video I want to play.
Let's say your business is doing well.
Watch this video.
Of expanding. That's great, but it's also.
So in this video, you will see the production before just-in-time system and after just-in-time system. So you can see this video. This video is actually focused on introducing lean in the company, introducing just-in-time in the company. So you will see actually just-in-time system is focused on full processing system. So you can see the old system. In old system, the company is having so many losses, right? Defect. You can see so many defects, unnecessary defect in the company, right? And the company have so many losses. Maybe the company is not producing the quality product right the first time. They are wasting the raw material in the company during the process. The process were not organized. It was clumsy. Okay? And they were all producing the goods on push processing system. They don't know the exact demand in the market. They keep on producing the product. Then, so in such case, they are storing the raw material also, and they are storing the final good also, right? Because they don't have the customer. So it is overproduction. Obviously, it will result in a waste in the company. So what happened after that? They have introduced lean system. So lean is focused on removing all wastage. Do not produce the goods if there is no demand in the market. So lean is what, if you will see, lean is first we receive the it works on full processing. So instead of producing unnecessary final good and storing them in warehouse, produce the goods once you receive the demand, okay, from the customer. So first you will receive the demand from the customer, then only you will produce the goods. It works on full processing system. All right. So it work on pull processing system. We produce the goods in such a way we produce the goods in such a way that give me 1 minute. So it is on pull processing system, and we produce the goods in such a way that there is no overproduction, that our production will always be equal to the demand in the market, right? So actually it's a very beautiful strategy, and this question may comes in your mind, how the production is possible without any waste, right? So let's see just-in-time system, that how the production happen in just-in-time system, and we produce the goods without any waste in the company. Without any waste in the company, we are producing the goods in the company. All right, okay. So just-in-time system, just remember, it actually work on what pull processing system. Just-in-time system actually work in pull processing system. All right, we have learned this, that it actually work on pull processing system. Okay, give me 1 minute. So if you will see here, this just-in-time system is actually work on what? Pull production system. So pull means when there is demand, then only we will produce the goods. Otherwise, unnecessary, we will not do the production. All right. Next. So production is driven by demand. If there is demand, then only we will produce the goods. Otherwise, we will not produce the goods unnecessary. This is what just-in-time system. Now, there is second philosophy here in just-in-time system, that we will buy the raw material when there is demand. Otherwise, unnecessary, we will not buy the raw material. See, actually, I know that I'm repeating the same thing again and again, but actually it is all used. You can see we have studied the same thing in chapter 2, and you can see how they are using the same thing here in lean system. Matlab, you can imagine it was first introduced by W. Edward Deming, and they are using the same thing here in lean system in Toyota company, right? They're using the same thing in Toyota company. All right. So you can see what is mentioned here. First, it is mentioned that we will do the production when there is demand. If there is no demand, we will not do the production. And the second one is that we will buy the raw material when there is requirement. If there is no requirement, we will not buy the raw material. Okay. So we will buy we will not buy the raw material, and we will not store them in warehouse. If you will see in entire just-in-time system, we do not store the raw material in warehouse, not at all. We do not store the raw material in warehouse, right? So they are not at all using the warehouse here in this case. All right, okay. So I hope it is clear to all of you. Okay, so next is what, if you will see just-in-time system, we have all these points in our book, right? These are the points we have in just-in-time system. So let's try to understand them one by one. Okay, we have these points in our book. Let's try to understand them one by one. So first point is receive the raw material exactly on the date and time. ठीक है. So this point will help you to know that we do not want to buy the raw material unnecessary. We will buy the raw material only when there is demand, right? So exactly buy the raw material when there is requirement. Otherwise, unnecessary, do not buy the raw material. There is no need to unnecessary buy the raw material. ठीक है. Buy the raw material when there is demand. Otherwise, do not buy the raw material, right? Exactly on the date, exactly the time when the raw material is required, then only receive the raw material. ठीक है. This is the point. Next is what? Send your engineering staff at supplier site. Now this is interesting. See, this is something I have discussed in last session also. Okay, let me do one thing. Can I take a break now? Actually, my Vacom is not working. I want a break. Let's take a break of 10 minutes. Then we can continue. Let's take a break. स्टार्ट करें? Okay. So we are studying about these 9-point and just-in-time system. Let's try to understand. So just remember one thing before understanding this concept. So we have these 9 points. Before understanding these points, remember one thing, that in this entire system, we will place entire process and procedure in such a way that we will have no waste in the company, right? No waste at all. We are just trying to put the entire system in such a way that there will be no wastage in the company. We just want to prevent the waste from the company. All right. Okay. So first is what? Receive the inventory when there is requirement, on exact date and on exact time. So when there is need in production department, we have the production department, right? This production department will first receive the demand from the customer. This will first receive the demand from the customer. This production department will first receive the demand from the customer. And when there is demand from the customer in the production department, they will immediately buy the raw material exactly when there is demand. So when there is demand, right, he will first receive the demand. Then exactly when there is requirement in the production department, exactly on that time I need raw material. Not before that, because if I'll receive the raw material before that, I need some space to store them. You know, if I received the raw material before times, for example, I need the raw material at 12 p.m. today, 12 p.m. 10 8:23. So for example, in production floor, I need raw material at 12 p.m. So what is mentioned here? Receive the raw material at the time and date when it is required. So if it is required at 12 p.m., receive the raw material exactly at that time. Why? Because we don't have space to store the raw material. We don't have warehouses. So we don't have space to store them. Okay. So the point is that you can see in lean management, they completely avoid storage of raw material, not at all store the raw material. Okay. Now the question comes here, ma'am, since you are talking about just-in-time system, which is actually focus on pull processing system. Pull means what? When there is demand from the customer, when the customer will make the demand, then only we will produce the goods. Then only we will produce the goods, and for production, then only we will buy the raw material. So when there is demand, then only we will produce the goods, then only we will buy the raw material. This is what mentioned here. Now, what is mentioned? That we want to buy the raw material only when there is demand. Okay? Exactly the time when there is demand, I want to purchase the raw material. Now the question comes here, ma'am, what about if the supplier is not supplying the exact quality as required by you? What if, ma'am, the supplier is not supplying exact quantity as required by you? And since you are not receiving the inventory in warehouse, so how will you check the inventory? Generally, what happens if you have a warehouse, ma'am? You can buy the inventory, you can keep in warehouse, and you keep on auditing it that whether we have received the correct inventory or not, right? The exact quantity, whatever we have demanded, have we received the exact quantity of inventory, exact quality of inventory, correct inventory? Is it the same what we have demanded? So we have to check now. We have to check the inventory. Is it the same inventory? But point is that, ma'am, you don't have warehouse. How will you check the inventory? How will you check the quality of the inventory? Or how will you check the quantity of the inventory? How will you check it, ma'am? So the point is that instead of doing this process of checking inside the warehouse, we have straight away what we have done here. Our engineer is sitting in the supplier premises, right? So what we have done, supplier or the seller office or factory. So we have placed one of engineering staff in the supplier site. So instead of checking the inventory in our warehouse, we are checking the inventory in supplier warehouse. Where he is producing the goods, you will check the inventory exactly at the same place before loading this raw material in a truck. Before loading this raw material in a truck for your factory, this truck is coming to transport the raw material in your factory. So before loading this raw material in this truck, what will happen? You will do the checking. How? Your engineering staff is already present in supplier premises. So you can imagine, I mean, you have not yet received the inventory in your organization. You have not at all received the inventory in production floor, but you have already done the checking. Not in your organization, but in the supplier organization. Supplier will always keep checking that at the supplier place, your engineer will keep on checking whether the supplier is supplying the exact quantity. If you have demanded 10,000 kg, is it 10,000 kg or less than that? He will check the quantity and he will check the quality. Is it the same quality which you have demanded or not, right? So what will happen? In this way, your engineering staff will always be present in supplier premises. So what we have learned this, if you remember in last session, I have discussed this with you, that in just-in-time system, supplier is very important. You have to create good relationships with supplier, because the point is that we are not buying the inventory and we are not storing them in our warehouse. So what if, ma'am, if supplier failed to supply the material? What if, ma'am, your production will be interrupted if the supplier will fail to supply the raw material? Your entire process of production will be interrupted. So the point is that if supplier is in a position to fail the supply, our engineer is always sitting at supplier premises. They will inform us immediately that, see, supplier have not enough raw material. They may fail to supply the raw material. Find the other alternate. So the point is that our engineer is already sitting in supplier premises. So there is no chances of any failure of supply of raw material, because we already have all the information of the supplier. One of our employees already sitting in supplier's office, supplier premises. So he keep on informing us that, see, they don't have the exact quality what you needed. They don't have exactly quantity what you needed. He always keep us informing. So the point is that I told you in last session, we have to maintain good relationship with the supplier. We always need to maintain good relationship with the supplier, and our one of the engineering staff will always be present in supplier premises to check that the supply of raw material should be uninterrupted, because we are not buying the raw material in advance. We will buy the inventory when there is requirement, exactly on the date and time when there is requirement. So how such accuracy is possible? That if I'm saying 1 baje maal chahiye, so when you are saying you need raw material at this time, exactly how is it possible to get the raw material exactly on the same date and time? It is possible if you have good relationship with the supplier. If you do not have good relationship with the supplier, it is not possible. So this is how the things are happening here. All right. Okay. The third point is what? Receive deliveries straight at the production floor for immediate use. Now see what is happening. So for example, this is my production floor. Okay. This is the production floor. Now the point is that if you will see this production floor, we have machine M1, machine M2, machine M3, machine M4. Here you are receiving the raw material, and here you have the final good. right? So output of M1 will become input of M2. Output of M2 will become input of M3. Output of M3 will become input of M4. And output of M4 will become a final good. This is what happening here. Now, what we are saying, instead, what will happen? For example, this is the supplier. So what will happen? Obviously, he will load all the raw material in a truck. He will load all the raw material and he will bring this raw material in our organization. Now he has two options. Either he can drop the inventory, at the factory gate. So for example, this is the factory gate. So he has option, either drop this entire inventory at the factory gate, or for example, this inventory is required in this production floor here. Requirement is here. So what is mentioned here? Do not deliver the inventory at factory gate. No. Don't deliver the inventory in factory gate. So we are asking the supplier, please drop this inventory at the production place where it is required. Right? So here in this case, what will happen? Supplier will drop the inventory straight at this place. Here, he will bring his truck at this place. He will bring his inventory at this place and he will drop entire raw material at this place where it is required. Can you imagine? So unnecessary movement of raw material within your organization you have avoided. It's a waste reduction, right? Can you see that actually we are reducing one of the waste? Actually here we are reducing one of the waste. What type of waste? Unnecessary transportation. So if you have a warehouse, if you will store the inventory in warehouse, you must need a truck to move the inventory from one place to another place. Because you can imagine factories are actually very big in size. So just to move the inventory from factory gate to the production floor, there is movement of inventory through trucks or vehicle, right? And if you are informing the supplier that, see, you don't have to drop the inventory in factory gate. I want inventory straight at the production floor. It is your responsibility to drop the inventory at production floor. So what will happen? This transportation, which is a kind of waste, you can avoid it very easily. So you can see, since and there is no warehouse, so you are avoiding this inventory waste also here. Inventory waste, storage, carrying cost, right? Any waste that is related to inventory, you can avoid it very easily. So since you are not this person is not dropping the inventory at factory gate, he is dropping the inventory straight at the production floor, you are avoiding both these wastage. How is it possible, ma'am? Here we have increased the responsibility of the supplier. First, he has to supply exactly on time. So not just on exact date, but exactly on time. When the raw material is required, the supplier will supply you the raw material. Then you are saying, supplier G, you should be on time and you should drop the inventory at production floor. So don't drop the inventory on the gate, drop the inventory at production floor. So can you imagine, actually we are increasing the responsibility of the supplier. Generally, it is not easy to increase the responsibility of the supplier. So what will happen here? We will make good relationship with the supplier, because actually we expect more from the supplier. Otherwise, he will say, see, my responsibility is just to sell the goods and you take other responsibility. But here you can imagine, actually we are shifting the responsibility, our responsibility, to supplier. So what will have so many things, right? Company is producing the final goods. Company have what? The company have so many things, right? So actually company is buying the raw material from the supplier, right? And then the company is producing the goods, and the company is receiving the order from the customer. company is receiving the order from the customer. Since you know that pull, it works on pull processing system. Pull means what? First, we receive the order from the customer. First, we receive the order. So immediately when you are receiving the order, you have to inform immediately to the supplier. Immediately you will inform the supplier that supplier, I need raw material. So what will happen? The supplier will immediately supply the raw material at the warehouse, which will be used in the production floor and which will be used by the customer. So what will happen? Immediate flow of information is required. Actually, you can see real-time information, real-time flow of information is required. So immediately when receive the order, customer has ordered, immediately this production manager have to inform immediately the supplier, I need a raw material. So the point is that you can imagine there should be flow of information on real-time system like this, right? So the point is that you need real-time flow of information. For that, what do we need? We need actually ERP-like system, ERP, right? It is just a software. So the software actually integrate all the process, and what will happen? Information will be freely flow, and actually the information will flow what on real-time basis. So exactly on the same time, everyone have the knowledge. Okay, like Domino's, how Domino's work. When you ordered the pizza, customer ordered the pizza, immediately the person who is cooking the pizza, he will get immediate information. Okay, this place, I got this order, these are the menus. Okay, he will immediately take the raw material, immediately he will start the production. Point is that how is it possible in Domino's case? Information is, you know what, on real-time system, freely flow of information, because the entire process is integrated. Customer, production department, purchase department, all these departments are integrated and information is freely flowing. So for that reason, we need what? We need electronic data interchange kind of software like ERP. So we need actually a very good software if you want to make your just-in-time system successful in any organization. All right. If you want to make just-in-time system successful, we need EDI, electronic data interchange, or ERP-like software. I hope it is clear to you. Okay, next is what? Dropping off the product at specific machine. Okay, actually I have covered it here only, but let me take these 2 points together. So what is mentioned here? Receive the delivery straight at the production floor on the machine where it is required. So I already told you, ask your supplier, do not drop the material at factory gate. Drop the material at the production floor, right? This is a production floor. So drop the material in production floor exactly on the machine where it is required. So if the raw material is required in machine M1, drop the raw material here in machine M1. If the raw material is required in machine M3, drop the raw material in M3. If the raw material is required in M2, drop the raw material at M2. Point is that where there is requirement of raw material, drop your inventory exactly on the same machine and the production floor. So this is what happening here. You will drop the raw material on the production floor on the same machine where it is required. So actually you can see this point 3 and point 5 is same, right? So what we have said, production floor, drop the inventory in production floor. And if you will see in production floor, you have different machine. In production floor, we have different machine, M1, M2, M3, M4. So fifth point they're adding here, you're receiving the raw material and you are producing the final goods. So the next point you are adding here, that do not just drop the inventory at production floor. Instead, drop the inventory exactly on the machine where there is requirement. Imagine they're shifting the responsibility to the supplier. There is no unnecessary movement of raw material. There is no unnecessary storage of raw material. How beautiful just-in-time system. But supplier should be very reliable in this case, because if the supplier is not reliable, your entire system will fail. And for that reason, we have already placed one of our engineer in the factory premises of supplier. right? The system should be very reliable. If supplier fail to supply the raw material, your entire system will finish. Point is that for that reason, we have already placed one of engineer at the place of supplier. All right. Okay. So these are the 5 points. Let's understand the 6th point. Now the point is that you know that the company can have production process, right? You can see this image. So company can have a production process, that how they are producing the goods. The company can have their production process. So for example, what is happening? This is the entire production floor: machine M1, machine M2, machine M3, machine M4, and then you are producing the final good for the customer, right? And you're buying the raw material. Okay. So you're buying the raw material, then this raw material will go from M1 to M2, then it will go from M2 to M3, then it will go from M3 to M4, and then you will get a final product. Finished good. Point is that, what is this point? Shorten the setup time. Now the question comes here, ma'am, what is this setup time? What is the setup time? So the point is that, you know, whenever we receive the order, so the point is that whenever we receive the order, first we need to set up our machine. Say yes or no. Setup time, you all know, right? What I know, if you are in CA final, you all know setup time. So whenever we receive the order, we need to set up our machine. You can imagine, whenever the order will change, every time you need to set up all these machines. Setup time of this machine, then setup time of this machine, setup time of this machine, setup time of this machine. Actually, the setup time is also a kind of waste. Unnecessary, other person is waiting, because the machine is taking time to set them. So the point is that, see what is written here. We want to shorten this setup time. So one method is possible if you produce the goods through cellular manufacturing. I will teach you later. We will study what is the cellular manufacturing. One method is possible where we do not produce the goods in batches. We are producing the goods one by one, one by one. So in that case, you produce the goods continuously. So machine will never stop. They keep on producing the goods. Machine will never stop. So since the machine is not stopping, right? Machine will not stop. So for that reason, you don't need to set up them. The process is continuous. Machine is not stopped, and you don't need setup. Otherwise, in case we may need sometimes to stop the machine. So the point is that, for what is written here, first make a videotape. Videotape means take a camera, record all the process of your organization, how you are producing the goods. Take a camera, right? Record everything. Okay. So how we are buying the raw material, then how we are producing the goods in machine M1, then how we are producing the goods in machine M2, then how we are producing in machine M3, then how we are producing the goods in machine M4, and then how we are getting the final goods. Take a camera and record all the process. What will happen? Then later on, observe the video. Okay. When you observe it now, when you will observe it, you will find, oh, where are we unnecessary wasting our time on setup? Right. So then you can work on reducing those setup times. So what is happening here, dear, that we will make a videotape. Okay. A team of industrial engineer and machine users examine this tape. What will happen? They will examine who? All the engineer of the company, all the machine expert, they will examine this tape. They will find what? Wherever you are unnecessary wasting time on setup, they will find it, and gradually they will try to remove them from the company so that they can reduce the length of setup time, right? So this will happen in this case, what? Just-in-time system, right? Shortening the setup time. Next is eliminating the need of long production run or streamlined flow of part of from machine to machine. Now see what is written here. Long production run should be avoided. And you have to streamline the flow of production. See, generally what happened, let me explain you this point also. So because of this, just-in-time system have been introduced. Let me give you an example first. So what happens generally when your factory is very big? You have a big factory. So in this case, what can happen? This is a factory gate. You are receiving the raw material from the supplier. Then what will happen? For example, your machine M1 is placed here. Machine M2 is placed here. Machine M3 is placed here. Machine M4 is placed here. And then you're receiving the final good and you're selling it to the customer. So since what is happening, first you will receive the raw material and you will take it in machine M1. Then the raw material will move unnecessary from one place to another, machine M1 to M2. Then what will happen? Unnecessary, your raw material will move from machine M2 to M3. Then what will happen? Unnecessary, your raw material will move from machine M3 to M4. Can you imagine? There is unnecessary motion, right? There is unnecessary motion. We just want to avoid this unnecessary motion. So you can see here what is mentioned. Long production run. How is it possible to have a long production run? When the machines are not properly placed in the factory. Machines are not properly placed in the factory. Then what will happen? The production run will be long, right? So what is mentioned here? There is no proper coordination between the machine because machines are placed far from each other, right? You can see machines are placed far from each other. What is the loss? No coordination between the machine and actually no coordination between the people, right? Those who are producing the goods. So no coordination between the machine and no coordination between the people, those who are producing the goods. Not good for the organization, right? So this was the defect. This was the problem they found in Toyota company, and what they have done. See, let's see first. Coordination between machine is required. Work in progress will build up in front of slow machine and defective product in stream up. So what will happen if you have such type of production system? No coordination between the machine, no coordination between the people, those who are working. So what will happen? Maybe your machine M3 is slow. Okay. Or the labor here is slow, or the resource is limited. Since the machine are placed far from each other, there is no coordination. This is working very slowly and you're not able to inform anyone in the company. So what will happen? This person has to wait. Why? Because he is slow, unnecessary, the inventory will pile up here. Inventory will unnecessary start accumulating at this place. Why? Because M3 is slow. Because M3 is slow, he is working slowly. Maybe the machine is slow, maybe the worker is slow. So unnecessary inventory will start piling up here. What will happen then? You will be producing the final good very slowly here. Output of M3 is very slow, because of which the M4 machine have to wait, or the person who is working here in M4 machine have to wait. You can see the non-value-added activity. Unnecessary piling of inventory is a waste. This is a waste. Also, this process is slow. It is a bottleneck activity. And here, waiting is also a waste. This is all waste. So you can imagine this is not a good process. This is a poor process, right? Now you can imagine that how they are improving this process in just-in-time system. So for that reason, they have introduced two things in the organization. First is Kanban system, and the second one is grouping of working cell. So grouping of working cell, let me explain this. Instead of placing the machine far from each other, place them together. All right. So instead of placing the machine far from each other, place these machines together. How? Give me 1 minute. I'll explain. So for example, place the machine in this way. M1 machine, M2 machine, M3 machine, M4 machine. So instead of placing the machine in this way, M1, then M2, then M3, then M4. Instead of placing the machine far from each other, place them together in a group. This is known as what? Grouping of machine. All right. So instead of placing the machine, you are receiving the raw material here, and here you have the final good. So instead of placing the machine far from each other, and there is no proper coordination, no coordination at all, right? Maybe any of the machine is slow, and because of which the inventory will start piling up, next process have to wait. So this is not a good process. Instead, keep all the machine together. Appoint one person only here, only one person is here, and he is observing everything, right? From here you are receiving the raw material. This one person will take the raw material, he will put it here, then output of this will put it here, he will put it here, then output of this he will put it here, then output of this he will put it here, and then finally you will get the final good. There is proper coordination, right? You can see why proper coordination, why I'm writing proper coordination. Because only one person is working with all the machine. This only one person is working on all the 4 machine. He has received the raw material here, and then he transferred the output of M1 to M2, then output of M2 to M3, output of M3 to M4, and then finally you will get a final product. One person is working on all the machine all together. He knows all the machine. He knows that which machine is fast, which machine is slow. He is producing the goods one by one. He's not producing the goods in batches. He's not producing the goods in together in lots. He is producing the goods one by one. Since the production is one by one, what will happen? There is no defect, right? Why? First point is that this will avoid any defect. Why? Because you can imagine one product is passing through eyes of the person. He knows, okay, he received the raw material, 1 unit of raw material. He put it in machine M1. He is watching the product. Okay, now it is in M1. So after that, he will transfer the unit to M2. He's watching the inventory. Okay, now the inventory is going to M2. Then value addition will take place in M2. Then he removed the inventory from M2. Then he will transfer it to M3. He's watching the inventory, value addition at M3. Then he is transferring the goods to M4. He's watching the inventory. Then final good. In each and every step, when you are adding the value, right? Here, what is happening? In machine M1, you are adding the value, right? In machine M2, you are adding the value to the product. In machine M3, you are adding value to the product. And in machine M4, you are adding value to the product. Whenever you are adding the value to the product, the person who is manufacturing it, he keep on observing each and every inventory. Okay? Not producing in bulk. You are producing the goods one by one. So what will happen if there will be any defect in any place? Right? He will identify it immediately. See, you can imagine when you have to do bulk of work, there are chances of error. And now, so if someone has given me to produce 10 items altogether, maybe I'll do some mistake. But when someone will give one by one, okay, first produce this product. Okay, once you have produced it, now take the second product. Okay, you have produced the second product, now produce the third product. So instead of producing the goods together, there are chances of defect. But when you produce the goods one by one, what will happen? One by one, you're observing the product and the material one by one. So what will happen in case if there will be any defect, you can identify it immediately like this. Immediately, if there is any error, immediately, if there is any defect, you can identify it like this. What will happen when you identify them? You will immediately stop it and immediately improve it. So what will happen? So this will not happen here that you are producing the defective unit and then you are improving it, right? So first we produce defect and then we improve it. Like here, this may happen. First, you produce the defective unit and then you improve it. So this will not happen here. You will not produce the defective unit, and then you are not improving it. This is not happening here. Why? Because if the company because here, if any defect will occur any place, this person will immediately identify it. He immediately improve it, right? So this is the best way, right? I hope you can understand what I'm trying to explain you. This is your just-in-time system. Right. So what is happening here? Grouping of working cell. Place all the machine together. Those machines who are working together, place them together. Right. Okay. So one person will handle a group of machine. What will happen? Defect can be identified immediately, because he is not producing the goods in bulk. He is producing the goods one by one. So when he is producing the goods one by one, right, you can see one by one, what will happen? You can identify, this person can identify the defect immediately. This will lower the machine maintenance cost also. And what will happen? Lower the machine cost, maintenance cost, because what will happen here? We will train this person. Here, what will happen? One person is responsible to handle 4 machines. One person is handling 4 machines. So what will happen? You will train this one person to handle all 4 type of machine. Matlab, he is not just a labor who is producing the goods, but he actually have the knowledge of the machine. So in case if any machine is not working properly, he keep on maintaining the machine, right? Keep on greasing them, keep on, prevention is better than cure. So you will study this later on, that we will train one person, those who are manufacturing the goods, we will train them to keep the machine properly, so that no interruption of the machine will happen, no breakdown of the machine will happen. He knows everything about the machine. So we will train this person that he will keep on preventive maintaining the machine in advance. There is no chances of breakdown also. So what will happen? This machine failure will reduce here. Okay. So you are not just producing the quality product right the first time, because he is checking each and every product every time, but you are also focusing on what? Lowering the machine maintenance cost. Because there is no downtime, there is no, machine is not, there is no failure of machine, right? So since there is no failure of machine, there is no, you don't need any cost on machine to repair it. You will learn this point later. We have a topic, total productive maintenance. After that, you will learn it more in detail. All right. Next topic. Okay. So problem before implementation of just-in-time system, when there was no grouping of machine, what was the problem? Long setup time. Machine needs to set up. Whenever you want to produce the goods, you have to set up the machine. Then lack of proper coordination between the machine and the workers, those who are working on the machine, lack of proper coordination. And because of which work in progress were piling up. Inventory was piling up, which result in defect also. So you can imagine 3 types of waste. Waiting time was a waste, right? Work in progress of inventory is a waste, and then since there is work in progress, it will result in defect also. These are all waste, which you can remove with the help of Kanban or full processing system or grouping of machine. So it is possible through this, right? So I have just explained you the meaning of grouping of machine. This is group of machine. We place the machine together. We train 1 or 2 person to work on group of machine. These are the grouping of machine, right? So instead of working in this way, unnecessary, you have placed the machine far from each other, and you need 2-3 people to maintain the machine and to work on the machine. 2 people are unnecessary engaged in moving the inventory from one machine to another machine. Not a good process. This is not at all good process. So we don't need it. Remove it from the organization. What do we need? Place the machine together. You can see all machine M1, M2, M3, M4. We have placed all the machine together, and one person is working on all these 4 machines. And you will train this person. He is trained not to just manufacture the raw material, but he is also trained in maintaining the machines also. All right. So this is grouping of machine. Now let's understand what is Kanban or pull processing system, ma'am. So let's understand Kanban or pull processing system. So in Kanban system, see, we have learned in just-in-time system that just-in-time system actually work on pull processing system, you know? And we have learned pull in supply chain also. What is pull system? You must have learned it. Pull means what? First we receive the demand. First we receive the demand from the customer. Then we produce the goods. This is pull processing system. So in pull processing system, what will happen? First, we receive the demand from the customer. We will receive the demand from the customer. Then accordingly, what will happen? We will immediately, when you receive the demand, we will immediately want to inform the supplier. So once the production department, like here, what will happen? For example, the production department consists of 3 machines, machine M1, machine M2, machine M3, right? So process A, process B, process C. You will receive the raw material here. Then output of this will become input of this, output of this will become input of this, and then finally you will give the final product to the customer. So what will happen? First, this customer will inform the person or the person who is in machine M3. He will inform here. In process 3, he will inform immediately that I need final good from you. I need final good from you. This process will immediately inform this process B, I need this much of quantity. This process will immediately inform this process that I need this much quantity. And this process will immediately inform the supplier, I need this much of raw material to produce this much of quantity. So in this way, what will happen in Kanban system or pull processing system, there is flow of what? There is flow of information. The information is flowing. How? Information is flowing from the customer to the supplier. So what is happening here? The information is flowing from the customer to supplier, but how it is flowing? Customer will first inform process A that I need 10,000 units of your product. Immediately process C will inform process B that I need 10,000 unit of your output so that I can supply the goods to the customer. Process B will immediately inform the process A, I need 10,000 units from you so that I can supply 10,000 units to process C. And process A will immediately inform the supplier that I need the raw material from you so that I can produce the goods for you. Right? So this is how the information will flow in the organization. Then what will happen? The process A will receive the raw material from the supplier. So raw material will come here. Then he will transfer the output to here. Then he will transfer the output to here. And then he will transfer the final good to the customer. So you can see in Kanban system, the information is flowing on one side and the material is flowing on other side, right? So information, it is like this, right? Information is flowing on one side and material is flowing on other side. And you can imagine it is actually a continuous process. It's not like the process will actually not stop anywhere, right? So it will be like this, cellular manufacturing, right? If you will see, we have cellular manufacturing. Where is it? Cellular manufacturing. So in case of cellular manufacturing, it works on both. You have first grouping of machine. We have grouping of machine. In this case, we have grouping of machine. And the second thing is that there is flow of information, flow of information and material. So Kanban system. Right? So what will happen? See, we have placed the raw material here. Then value addition will take place here. Then this raw material will move here. Value addition will take place here. then this will move here, value addition will take place here, then this will move here, value addition will take place here, this will move here, value addition will take place here, and finally you will get a final product. But it work on Kanban system. First, the customer here will inform this process that I need 10,000 units. Okay. So what will happen? This process will inform here. 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 And this process will inform the supplier that we need raw material. Right? He will inform the supplier we need raw material. Then what will happen? Accordingly, they will buy the raw material, and raw material will transfer here. Then output will transfer here. Then it will transfer here. Then it will transfer here. It will transfer here. And finally, you will get the final good. So this is how the Kanban system works, right? Kanban system. This is how the Kanban system works. All right. So this is also known as, so here you can see we have two terms. One is notification card, and the second one is upstream. So upstream, so there is on one side, there is flow of information, on other side, there is flow of material. And it all happened with the help of a card. Here, a card will move, and in card, the information will be mentioned. By the way, these days we use ERP to do all these things. We have a software. With software, these process and department will get the exact information on real-time basis, and accordingly, they will produce the goods. All right. Now I just want to show you a video. Give me 1 minute. So please watch this video. So how the production will happen when we apply both grouping of machine, and we are applying grouping of machine, and what will happen? We have not just applied grouping of machine, but Kanban system also. So you will see these days, every organization uses just-in-time system. So you can see Tata company in India, Tata is using just in India, not just Tata company, Honda company, see, it was origin in Toyota company after Second World War. But after that, it became a revolution in entire world. People start observing how the organization is producing quality product. It start become, popular. And then later on, every company in entire world uses this. Right? So you can see cellular manufacturing is actually used by every organization. So in fact, the production system in every organization, they are using just-in-time system, right? Okay, let me show you exactly what I want to show you. Yes, this image. I want all of you to see. This is how production will happen in just-in-time system. So there will be, this line will keep on moving. Worker are not moving. So they have stopped movement of worker. They have stopped movement of raw material. Okay, देखो, this is a just-in-time system where worker are not moving unnecessarily. They are just adding the value to the product. They are just engaged in adding the value to the product. And पीछे you can see a truck is moving. That means supplier is dropping the raw material straight on the production floor, straight on the machine where the raw material is required. And these are what you can see. These are group of machines, right? These are grouping of machine from which the worker will add value to the product, right? These are group of machine through which the customer will add value. And picture, you can see the supplier is dropping the material straight to the production floor on the machine where there is requirement of raw material, right? So this is such a beautiful thing, right? This is cellular manufacturing. This is a cell, right? Cell means group of machine. This is group of machine. This is group of machine, which is adding the value to the final product, right? Now, if you will see here, I have taken one more example. So this is what a group of machine. This is an example of Japanese company, Japanese factory. Just observe how they are producing the goods here. This woman is engaged in group of machine, right? And she is just taking the output of one machine into another machine. She is just taking the output of one machine to another machine, group of machine, right? She is working in group of machine. So what will happen here, if there will be any defects, she will identify immediately, because every product after every process is passing through her eyes and her hand, right? Every product is passing through her eyes and her hand. So if there will be any defect, she can identify like this, right? She is working on group of machine. You can see these are group of machine on which she is working. It is all practically possible, right? For that reason, I have taken this video. See, observe it. All right. So this is what grouping of machines. So instead of producing the goods instead of placing the machine far from each other, place them together. This will save all the non-value-added activities. This will remove all the waste from the company, and it save the resources of the company, right? I hope it is clear. I hope it is clear. Say yes or no, this is clear or not? All right. Okay. Now the next point. See, we have learned so many points here for the implementation of just-in-time system. All right. What we have learned? We have learned so many points, right? Installation of EDI, dropping the material on the specific machine, visiting of engineer on the supplier side, shortening the setup time. We have learned it, eliminating the long production run, right? You have eliminated all the non-value-added activity from the company. All right. And then several alteration. Okay, so we have learned all these points. Let's see some more points we have. 4, 5, 6. We have implemented. Now let's see, we have 8th point. 8th point is what? Trained employee to operate on multiple different machines. So what is happening here? You are appointing just one person, one or two person. Generally there is one person or one or two person. So you are just appointing one or two person, and this one or two person is actually working on group of machine. This one or two person is actually working on group of machine. So what is required? See, labor is just a labor, right? But here what you are expecting from him, that he should know about the production, and you are expecting this person to have knowledge about machine also, right? You are expecting this person to have knowledge of machine, and you are expecting this person to have knowledge about the production also, right? So what will happen? For that, we need to train this person. Training is required. You will train them that how the machine is working, right? And you will train them how they have to produce the goods. So you will provide the training for both, about the machine and about the production. You have to provide the training for both. All right. So what is written? What is the 8th point for the successful just-in-time implementation? Train the employee to operate a multiple different machine with limited maintenance. Now he keep on maintaining the machine, so no maintenance from other engineer is required, right? Outside engineer help is not required, because this person is already have the knowledge about the machine. All right, so he keep on greasing the machine, cleaning of machine, greasing the machine. So when you will keep, keeping your tightening the loose bolt. So what is happening? He knows how to maintain the machine, and he know how to produce the goods from the machine, right? So when the labor knows about it, right, how to maintain the machine and how to produce the goods. All right, so for that, you need to provide him the training, right? You need to provide the training to the employee for all these things. Okay, so what in traditional, what is happening? One machine, one person is handling one machine. But here what is happening? One person is handling group of machine, multiple machine. This will reduce all the defect we have already learned. If one person is expert enough, it will reduce all the defect from the company, and it will reduce the machine failure also. Machine will not fail here. It will avoid the machine failure also, right? So what will happen? Attention, the shift to high production volume to high quality volume. So since here what is happening, you are producing the goods one by one, right? You're not producing the goods in bulk altogether. Instead, you're producing the goods one by one. What will happen? You're focusing on quality. We're focusing more on quality instead of producing huge quantity at a time. So what is happening? Just in case of just-in-time system, the focus is shift from producing the goods in bulk quantity to producing the goods of high quality, right? See what else is written. Employees are allowed to stop the machine immediately when he see any problem. He will stop the machine immediately if there is any problem, and either fix it on the spot or immediately call the repair team. So if there is any problem with the machine, he will immediately fix it because he has the knowledge. We are providing him the training. If he failed to fix it, he will immediately call the repair team to repair the machine. So this is how the production happened, right? So 8th point. 9th is what? Several alteration in supporting accounting system. Now, accounting system is different in case of just-in-time system. So generally, how we maintain the accounts, we record what raw material we have purchased, right? Then we see out of the purchase inventory, how much raw material is used. What is our opening raw material? Generally, since just-in-time system, there is no opening raw material. And there is no closing raw material also. But generally, if you have traditional system, you have the opening raw material. You consider the purchase raw material. Then you reduce the used raw material. Then you will have the closing raw material. So this is how the production happened in traditional system. But since it is a just-in-time system, so in case of just-in-time system, you have no record of opening raw material, no closing raw material. You are actually purchasing the inventory as much as there is requirement in the production floor. We do not follow this method here for accounting, for maintaining the accounts. So for maintaining the accounts, here we follow black flush costing. Now, what is black flush costing? In case of black flush costing, we do the calculation in a reverse way. So what is the reverse way? We will first see how many final goods we are producing. For the final goods, how many raw material is consumed, right? And accordingly, they will maintain the account. They will not see how much material is received from the supplier. They will see how much raw material is consumed. Accordingly, they will calculate the inventory. This is what backflush costing. It is not in the syllabus now. It was in syllabus earlier, but not now. So backflush is actually a accounting method. Okay, but it's a reverse accounting method. So in this case, we do not see what we are receiving. Instead, we just see what we are actually consuming. Accordingly, we prepare the account. Right now, it is not in the syllabus, but since it is the 9th point, I have explained it, right? So we do not consider what we are receiving from the supplier. We do not, in fact, consider the invoices from the supplier. We will just see how much material we are consuming. Accordingly, we will make the accounts. You can see we have covered all these 9 points, and for a successful just-in-time system, we have to follow all these 9 points. If these 9 points are, successfully implemented in the organization can produce the goods successfully by following the just-in-time system. I hope it is clear. These are wonderful strategies. Wonderful business strategies developed by so just-in-time system. was first introduced in Toyota company. Okay. So for that reason, you also called it Toyota production system, right? It is also known as Toyota production system. Okay. So you are working here on full processing system. First, you see the customer demand, then you produce the goods. You are producing high quality product, right, the first time. Okay. And since there is no waste, this entire process is focusing on removing the waste. Since there is no waste, your entire process is focused on removing the waste. What will happen? It will reduce the cost. It will reduce the cost. Okay. It is focused on removing all the waste from the company, so this reduces the cost. I hope it is clear. Okay. So you can see just-in-time system is focused on removing the waste from the company. All the waste, all deadly waste will be removed here. And you will manage to produce the quality product right the first time, on time, right? Idle time is removed here, right? And you are actually focusing on total quality management. All right. Okay. So you can see prerequisite of just-in-time system. I already told you this was first adopted by all these things was first implemented in Toyota company. So the point is that I told you all these things. It was all first introduced in Toyota company and it was all focused on W. Edward Deming. We have learned about W. Edward Deming, right, in chapter 2. So in chapter 2, we have learned 14 principles of all W. Edward Deming. This entire just-in-time system is focused on the philosophy of W. Edward Deming, right? You can see it is all focused on all those 14 principles which we have studied in chapter 2, which was given by W. Edward Deming. So this is the base actually. This is the base. All right, vendor reliability. We have already discussed. I already told you supplier should be reliable. If your supplier is not reliable, just-in-time will fail. If supplier is not reliable, just-in-time system will fail. So here we need to ensure that supplier should be reliable. Then good communication is required. For that reason, we are implementing ERP kind of thing, right? So ERP will help you, electronic data interchange. We need a software which integrate all the process so that we can have real-time information as and when required. You will have the information on real-time system as and when required. Okay, so good communication is possible through implementation of electronic data interchange or ERP. Demand stability from customer. Yes, the demand should be stable. It's not like that customer is sometime demanded 1 lakh unit and sometime they are demanding just 100 unit. It should not be like that. Okay. So it is focused on total quality management, means quality right the first time. So we will produce the quality product right the first time. Then defect free. We don't want any defect. Obviously, we have learned that we are focused on removing all the waste from the company, all the non-valuated activity from the company. Preventive maintenance, you will learn more about it in detail. But as I told you that one person, you will train one person to handle all the machine. This is preventive maintenance. To handle all machines. One person, how one person have knowledge of all the machine, you will provide him training. And he continuously keep on maintaining the machine by greasing them, by cleaning them, by tightening all the loose bolt. So in this way, he keep on preventing the machines from any failure of, downtime of the machines. So these are the essential requirements for the implementation of just-in-time system. All right, we have learned all these points. Okay, we have learned everything. I will come back to cellular manufacturing. We will come back to here. But before that, let me explain you one more point which is not covered. We have learned about it. What? Mura, Muda, and Muri. So if you will see in our entire just-in-time system, we have talked about these 7 deadly waste. We have learned about all the 7 deadly waste, but actually there are 2 more type of waste. One is Mura and one is Muri. Okay? Mura means uneven burden. So never do this. What? Uneven burden on the machine or uneven burden on the employee or the labor of the company. What is the meaning of this? That see, one of the worker, he is overloaded with work. Overloaded with work. One of the worker is overloaded with work, and one of the worker is free. Is completely free. He has nothing to do. He is just idle sitting like this. Point is that it is not good. ठीक है? Unevenness of machine or worker. मतलब on one machine you're working, you're producing huge quantity. On other machine it is ideal, you are not at all producing the goods, or you are producing very less units from it. So the point is that unevenness is not good for the organization. Later on it will convert into this deadly waste. Unevenness. Second is overburden. Do not overburden any of your employee or machine. Just allow them to the extent they can do. So this is such a beautiful strategy. Generally what happens, if you will see in our country, we believe that if there is an employer, he will give tasks to their employee. He will overburden them. You have to do this, 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 this. So in this way, he keep on overburdening the employee. What will happen if the employee is overburdened with work? Point is that he will not be focused in the work. He will be tired. He will not be focused in the work, right? So when the employee will not be focused in the work, obviously he will produce defective units. He will produce the defective unit, and we want the quality product right the first time. So do not overburden the employee. Allow them to the extent he can work. Allow the machine to the extent they can work. If you overburden the machine, or if you overburden the employee, what will happen? If you overburden the machine or overburden the employee, what will happen? Gradually, they will lose their capacity to produce the goods, and they will lose their focus. And this may result in defect, which we don't want, right? We want quality right the first time. I hope this is clear to all. So this is about just-in-time system. So now let's talk about what? Cellular manufacturing. If you will see cellular manufacturing, it is actually, if you will see, give me 1 minute. If you will see here, this is cellular manufacturing, and here they have implemented just-in-time system also. In cellular manufacturing, they have implemented just-in-time system also. You can see they have implemented Kanban system and grouping of cell. How the production happen in cellular manufacturing, let me show you this. Okay? So cellular manufacturing system, just-in-time system, and lean system, if you add everything all together, it will become cellular manufacturing, right? And what is the goal of cellular manufacturing? To move as quickly as possible, make wide variety of similar product, make little waste as possible. You have to reduce the waste. Okay. And in case of cellular manufacturing, what is happening? Okay. In case of cellular manufacturing, you will implement both grouping of cell and Kanban system. So how the production happen in cellular manufacturing, this belt will move. So here what will happen, this belt will move, right? And in this belt, the product will keep on moving, right? Product will keep on moving here, right? And what will happen, for example, here you have introduces just a raw material come here. What will happen? Then the worker at this place, he will use all the machine here, M1, M2, M3, M4, M5. He will use all these machine and he will add the value to this product. After adding the value, this is a moving belt. This belt will move here. Then what will happen? The worker who is present here, he will add the value by considering machine M6, M7, M8, M9, M10. So he will use all these machine and he will add value to this product. Then the product will move here. Then what will happen? A person is sitting here. He will use these machine M11, M12, M13, M14. So he will use these machine, and by using these machine, he will add value here. Then the product will move here. The person who is sitting here, he will use all these machine, add value here. Product will move here. The person who is sitting here, he will add value, and then you will get a final product. Point is that value addition is taking place, right? There is no motion of employee, right? No transportation. Raw material is not at all moving. You are not at all storing the inventory in warehouse. There is no warehouse. So no cost related to inventory. Inventory is not at all moving inside the warehouse. There is no transportation, no motion of the employee, unnecessary motion of the employee, right? One person is handling all group of machine. So there is no defect. If there is defect, he will identify immediately. So there is no rework. There is no rework, no defect or no rework. All right. There is no overproduction. Why there is no overproduction? Because you are working here on pull processing system. Pull means when there is demand, only then you are producing the goods, otherwise you are not producing the goods. So there is no overproduction, there is no overprocessing, because you keep on identifying the places where you are wasting the resources, identify them, remove them. So no overprocessing. You can imagine, just by implementation of just-in-time system or by the implementation of pull processing system, we manage to remove all the non-value-added activity from the company. So you can see now the company have only the value-added activities, and we managed to remove all the non-value-added activities from the company. This is your cellular manufacturing, right? I hope it is clear, and I have already shown you this video also for cellular manufacturing. So we have already shared it. Okay, so next topic is Kaizen costing. If you have any doubt, please ask your questions, your doubt. If you have any doubt. Yes, if you have any doubt, please ask your doubt. We have learned all these points, right? You can imagine how beautiful these strategies are. If you manage to implement them, all the wastage will be removed, all the non-value-added activity from the company will remove. All right. Okay, next topic. We still have half an hour, so let's do the next topic also. So the next topic is Kaizen costing. This is the next topic. What is it? Kaizen costing. So Kaizen is a Japanese word, right? Kai means continuous. Zen means improvement. Right? So this is Kaizen costing, and it focuses on what? Continuously improving the organization. If you remember, this was given by W. Edward Deming. This was first given by W. Edward Deming, which was also known as PDCA cycle, plan, do, PDCA cycle, right? This was given by PDCA cycle, that was continuous improvement. You can see the same is implemented in Toyota company. Now, continuous improvement means, as we have already discussed, no system, no process is perfect. Even after implementing just-in-time system, you will not say that the organization is perfect. No system, no process is perfect. There is always some scope of improvement. And we continuously keep identifying those scope. We continuously keep identifying the defects, and we continuously improving. We continuously try to find the way to improve them. Okay. So what we believe here, little by little, a little become a lot. Small, small changes, no matter how small change it is, right? We always try to find out the scope for improvement, right? No matter how small it is. Okay, so I'll give you this image. Just observe this image and tell me the difference, and give me 1 minute. Observe this image and tell me the difference between these two. So what difference you observed here? Tell me. If you will see this image, what is the difference? Huh? So if you will see in this image, we have two scenarios. Okay, give me 1 minute. Okay, so there is a question of Janvi. She is asking when we will implement the just. Okay, let's take the doubt first. Give me 1 minute. Let's take some doubt first. So Janvi is asking a question that when we implement the just-in-time system, so in such case, because we need a reliable supplier. We need a reliable supplier, ma'am. In such case, where we need a reliable supplier, there are chances that this supplier, since he is dropping the inventory at the machine, straight at the production floor, he's dropping the inventory. So the point is that, ma'am, is it not possible that this supplier is charging more money? He's charging more for the extra efforts he is putting. Maybe he will charge more money. But the point is that you manage to save the cost now. You manage to save so many wastage, because that's okay if he's charging more money, but you are saving waste here. The save in waste means you're saving the resource. And when you save the resource, you are saving the cost. Just do the cost analysis. If the saving of cost is more than what this supplier is charging, go for it. It is good for the organization. If here the saving is more than what he is charging, go for it, right? So that is possible that the supplier may charge extra money, but you have to do the cost analysis then. Very nice. It is good that your mind is thinking all these questions. Pull is, see, Kaushik, pull is possible in all the cases, right? So you just have to think about it. In just-in-time system, big organization, big automobile companies like in India, you know, Tata is a big name. Tata Motors, right? They use just-in-time system. So you can imagine, like internationally, obviously, like Japanese company, they follow just-in-time system since after Second World War. So it's around 50 years they are following just-in-time system. But in India also now, there are many organizations, those who are following just-in-time system. Okay, so I hope it is all now clear. Now let's start Kaizen costing. So I just want to see your doubts. Let's start the Kaizen costing. So what is Kaizen? As we have already learned, Kaizen is Kaizen is a Japanese word, right? So Kaizen means Kai Zen. This is what continuous. Zen means improvement. Right. So Kai means continuous, Zen means improvement. All right. Continuous improvement. Kaizen costing. It was developed by W. Edward Deming from PDCA cycle. PDCA cycle. It was adopted from PDCA cycle. Okay, next topic. So if you will see in Kaizen, it is focused on finding the non-value-added activity. It is everyday task. So if you will see for Kaizen, everyone is responsible. Everyone is responsible every day. And everywhere in the organization. Okay, everywhere. So the point is that everyone is responsible, no matter a person may be in higher authority, maybe in lower authority, any level of employee. It is the responsibility of each and every employee of the company to identify the place where the company is wasting the resources. Identify it. It is not easy. See, to identify all the non-valuated activity is not a one-time process. It is not a one-time process. If you remove a non-valuated activity, maybe next day you will find some more other non-valuated activity. It's a continuous process. No organization is perfect, and no organization have all the valuated activity. Instead, in most of the cases, the organization have the non-valuated activity, right? So the company should keep on identifying the non-valuated activities, right? And it is a never-ending process. Now, the point is that it is the responsibility of everyone in the company to identify those non-valuated activity. And in every day's activity, every day everyone should identify everywhere in the company, in the process, in the way you are buying the raw material, in the way you are supplying the final good to the customer, in the way you are providing after sale services, customer services, everywhere this is required, right? Continual improvement is required everywhere. Changes for good is required everywhere. Kaizen costing. Okay. So what is it? So this will result in small changes. No matter how small the changes, it is important for the organization. No matter how small change. So see, it works on small incremental changes. These are not dramatic change like business process re-engineering. You will study about business process re-engineering later on. You have studied it in your CA Inter also. Business process re-engineering is a dramatic change. This is not a dramatic change. And process innovation is incremental change. This is not incremental change. It is a very small change, small changes. So you can see through Kaizen, we will try to achieve small increment change. We will try to identify the small incremental change in the company. Small incremental change in the company is required. Now you can see we have two images. We have taken two images. If you will see, it is a very small change we have done in the company. Small change. But the small change is actually saving the resource. Saving resource. We are saving the waste from the company. So just by changing the shape a little of the machine as compared to this, just you have changed the machine's shape in this way. What is happening? You're saving these resources from waste. This was a waste. And just by changing the shape, you are saving this. Point is that it is very small change, right? It is a very small saving. But no matter how small saving it is important for the organization. This is what they believe. No matter how small the change is, it is relevant. Keep identifying them and keep removing them. Awesome. If you will see here what is happening, two images. On one side, workers are fighting with each other because one of the worker is a short person. He is short. Taken. And this person is very tall. This is a tall person. Okay. So they are working on the same table. These person are actually working on the same table. Now this person, short person, is saying table is very, height of the table is very high and please reduce the height of the table. And this person is saying, tall person is saying, no, please raise the height of the table because I can't work with lower height of the table. So in this way, what is happening? Actually, these two workers, they are fighting with each other. Actually, when the people, we need a teamwork. If you remember in chapter 2, we have studied, we need teamwork. Coordination between the employees is important. If there is no proper coordination between the employee, it will result in failure and disaster for the company. And here you can see visibly there is fight between the employee. Maybe later on it will become politics between the employee. No coordination, poor coordination, and obviously then the company have to suffer. See, a very small problem, how we have removed this problem just by introducing a footstep for the person having small size, short height. For a short height person, we have just introduced a footstep. And the person who is having who is a tall person, right? A person who is a tall, you have just introduced one of such type of product for him so that it will be according to his height. So what is happening? A very small, such an intelligent solution for a fight, right? Now both are happy with the solution and they both are working together happily. They're happy. Now these two people have proper coordination, right? They're talking to each other very happily. So the point is that we should always try to avoid the conflict between the employees. This will also result in some kind of non-valued activity in the company, right? Avoid it. Kaizen means what? Continuous improvement. No matter how small change you have done in the company is important for the company. So you have just done a small change in the company. Okay, next is again, instead of unnecessary overburden your employee with the work, what is the use? Buy this trolley, it will be hardly cost 100 rupees to the company. It will hardly cost 100 rupees to the company, but what is the benefit of it? The benefit is that it will save the efforts of the employee. है ना? It will not be tiring for the employee. He will be more efficient. If employee is not tired, he will be more efficient. He can produce more good for the company, right? So the point is that do this, right? This is small change in the company, but actually it will bring small, little by little, a little become a lot. Small changes one day will give you a big change in the company. Okay? Small changes will bring a big change in the company. So the point is that if you will see, Kaizen is like tortoise. What we expect from a turtle, that turtle move very slowly. Actually, in Kaizen, we expect such improvement. We expect the improvement just like turtle. We expect the improvement just like turtles. Right? They move very slowly. Okay? So we need small improvement. We don't need any drastic improvement, small improvement, because we believe small improvement will one day give a big impact in the company. So small improvement is okay for the company, right? So cost reduction resulting from Kaizen are much smaller than achieved by the value engineering. So you will study about the value engineering. In case of value engineering, we will study about the improvement. Yeah, here also we will study about the improvement, but the improvement in case of value engineering is not a small improvement. It is incremental improvement, right? It will not be small improvement. It will be incremental improvement. In this case, it will not be small improvement. All right. So I hope you understood how Kaizen is important, right? So Kaizen is what? Gradual improvement. It is a small improvement, not a big improvement for the company, but small improvement will bring a big improvement in organization one day, right? So what is mentioned in Kaizen costing? No limit on level of improvement. So they are saying no organization is perfect. No organization is perfect. There is always some scope of improvement. In every organization, right? So you should continuously find those scope of improvement. Keep finding the scope of improvement and keep improving your organization. So what is mentioned? No limit on the level of improvement. There is no limit. You can improve the organization to n number of times, right? Kaizen involves setting standard and then continuously improving the standard to achieve the long-term sustainable improvement. Point is that if you will see, Kaizen is not on short-term focus. It is actually on long-term focus. If you remember, we have studied it in chapter 2 also, that the organization should never be short-term focus, right? The organization should always be long-term focus. The organization should always be long-term focus, right? Long-term means the organization must have a long-term vision, right? You can achieve the long-term vision when you're working in this way. Do not overburden the employee, unnecessary burden on the employee, right? Unevenness burden on employee and machine. You can see small changes, right? So if you are focused on small changes, later on it will result in big changes, and it will help the organization in their long-term survival, right? Okay. So the next topic, 5S methodology, then we will wind up with this topic. And in next session, we will take the question related to this topic, and we will take questions, MCQ questions and question related to this topic. All right. Okay. Now see, we have learned about that an organization can be of two types, organized and unorganized and clumsy, right? It can be organized, it can be unorganized, it can be clumsy. Now, point is that when you're working in a clumsy environment, unorganized environment, what will happen? For example, this is the place where the inventory are stored. Okay. So many inventories are here, but they are not properly placed, clumsy way. In the storeroom, the inventories are placed in clumsy way. What will happen? For example, I need something. What will happen? It will be difficult for me to find the material. Same way, for example, let me make a comparison. For example, this is your almirah. This is your almirah, and point is that if it is your almirah and you are an all CS student, right? You all are CS student. So your cupboard must be full of books, right? Full of books, full of notebooks, full of material. It's all full of material. I know that, right? So the point is that when it is full of material and it is all clumsy, matlab you have not keep them properly, like law ki book, CA final, tax book, direct tax book, notes, indirect tax book, notes, right? Financial management books and their notes. So if you are not keeping them in organized way, it is all clumsy. You don't know where is my law book. Oh, I don't know where is my accounting book. I don't know where is my tax book. It is not properly placed. Then what will happen? Whenever you want to study and you want to find something, you will not find it immediately. Oh, you will spend time on finding the book. Oh, where is my Loki book? Find it. Okay. So the point is that you are just wasting your time in finding the books because your place is clumsy, your place in unorganized. Similarly, you will see, though, if you will see my laptop, it is very clean. I keep my laptop very clean, organized. Okay. You can see it is very clean. And I have separate folder for everything. I am working in a corporate, and I am taking a session also in academic sessions. I've taken so the point is that I need, if I have seen some people that their desktop is full of files. Okay. And if you will ask them, they will not find the file immediately. They will take some time. Oh, they will find the file. Okay, you need this file. Okay, they will find it here, right? So the point is that their place is not organized. Their laptop is not organized. And if you will see, like some people are very organized. They make the folder. Okay, this is the folder for my this session. This is the folder for my this session. This is the folder for this work, right? And they immediately put their important file on those folder. If there is any file which is not relevant, they delete it immediately. So when, for example, I'm teaching something and I don't need those Excel sheet or a Word file or note file, I immediately delete them. So the point is that do not keep unnecessary inventory in the organization. Do not keep it clumsy. Do not keep it unorganized. Why? Because when you need something, you will not get it if it is clumsy or untidy or unorganized. So you can imagine here that it will actually result in a waste in the company. What type of waste? The employee is actually wasting his time to finding the inventory. He is actually wasting the time to finding the file. You are actually wasting your time to finding your notebook or book. So the point is that, so instead of keeping your workplace unorganized, always keep them organized. So if it is organized, okay, in this folder, I'll get this file. In this folder, I have this file. So when you are organized, it will be very easy for you to get your file very easily. So for that, they have introduced 5S methodology. Okay. So this 5S methodology is related to organizing your workplace. It can be your laptop, the file you keep in your laptop. It can be related to the file you keep in your laptop, or it can be related to storeroom, or it can be related to your desktop, your desk, the place where you work, right? So it can be related to your wardrobe, right? So it can be related to anything. What is it? To organize your workplace is 5S methodology. If you will see here again, since it was introduced in Toyota company, 5S also, this 5S methodology was also introduced in Toyota company. Okay. It was introduced in Japan. So you can see they have used Japanese word here. These are all what Japanese word. So series, Siton, Sesso, Siketsu, Shitsuke. So these are all Japanese word. right? So what is their English translation? Sort, set in order, shine, standardize, and sustain. Sort the inventory, set them in order, shine it, standardize it, sustain it. Let's understand it. Okay. So the first point is that remove. Sort means what? What does sort means here? Okay, give me 1 minute. So the first point is what? Sort. What is it? Remove from the workplace what you do not need and keep what you need. So for example, when I work on my laptop, most of the cases I take sessions, right? So whenever I take session, I use files, right? Like here I'm using a PowerPoint. Sometime I use Excel sheet. Sometime I use Word files. Sometime I use OneNote files. Point is that whenever I use any file and it is just for the explanation and it is not required for later on, I immediately after taking the session, delete those files. I do not keep those files. What is it? What you do not need for your work, delete it, remove it from the workplace and keep whatever is required for your features. So if, for example, I have prepared some file like these, if you will see my PPT, I have these PPTs since 4 years. So I prepared these PPT 4 years back and I kept them, safely. So the point is that if you want something, if you need something for your organization, keep them. If you feel something is not relevant for you, delete them immediately. Right? So if there is something which is not required at the workplace, delete them immediately. If you think there is something which is important for your workplace, keep them safely in your workplace, right? Next. Okay, so now you have only the file which is important for you. Now you have only the file which is important. You have the file which is important for you. So now you have only the file which is important for you. Then what is happening? You have deleted unnecessary file. Now set an order. So for the file, I have taken an example of file. You can take the example of inventory in warehouse also. So if you have the files, prepare the folder. Okay, in this folder, I'll keep for session S1. In this folder, I'll keep all the files of session S2. In this folder, I'll keep the file of session S3. So in this way, set an order. Set the order for your inventory, for the material, raw material in warehouse, for the material in your desk, working desk, for the files you have in your laptop, set them in order. Give everything a place and a place for any object. Every file have a place. Okay, this file is for CA final student. This file is for this organization. This file is for this organization. So in this way, if you have a file, place them, right? Give them a space, give them a folder name, and place your file in that folder. Okay? So set them in order, give them a place. Next, shine, simply shine without excuse. Now, shine means what? Continuously cleaning your process. So if you have a desk every day, come at the workplace, do not expect any maid in your organization or whatever. Do not expect any other person to clean your desk. Okay? You have to work on your desk. So clean it. Keep a tissue paper or keep some cloth and clean your desk, clean your computer, clean your files, clean everything. It is your responsibility. It is not the responsibility of a watchman or peon or any other person in the company. It is your responsibility. Though you expect this from the peon to clean your desk, but no, it is your responsibility. Clean your desk before starting your work. Clean your work. Clean your workplace. So, and do it regularly. Do it regularly. Regularly keep cleaning your workplace. Keep cleaning it, right? Then standardize to maintain the workplace. Give standards that this product should be placed here. This should be placed here. This should be, give the place for everything, right? Give the place for everything and give the make the standard. Okay, we will keep the file in this way only, and we will keep cleaning the places always, right? So standard, set the standard for the organization to maintain the workplace, right? Give a standard to the company, right? Then sustain whatever the standard you have set for the organization, sustain it, right? Keep on sustaining it, right? So this is what 5S methodology. This is 5S methodology. And in this way, what will happen? You have not just created a good environment, working environment, organized environment, but you have sustained it, right? Regularly, you are regularly cleaning it, regularly removing the files which is not required or the item which is not required, right? So actually, this 5S methodology is again not a one-time task. You will not do it for just one time. This should be a regular task for you. This should be a regular process in your organization. So you can imagine how beautiful strategies we have here, right? These are so beautiful strategy. You can imagine how intelligent brain they have applied. How intelligent brain they have applied here. They have applied such an intelligent brain here that they are producing no defect, not at all, not even single unit. Can you examine if you give the exam and there is no, I mean, you have scored 100 marks. Huh? Not even 1 marks have been deducted. How beautiful it is. Not even single marks have been deducted. 100 out of 100. How is it possible that you are producing the goods and there is not at all even a single defect in the company? Not even one defect in the company. So you can imagine how beautiful brain is required to develop such system, develop such process in the organization, that the organization is not even producing not even one defective unit. And company is so sure that we are producing quality right the first time. We are always producing quality product and we are never producing defective unit. Not even a single unit is a defective unit in the company. You can imagine how beautiful brain is involved here, right? So that's it. If you have any doubt, you can ask me. Otherwise, we will be winding up the session. Yes. If you have doubt, please ask your doubt. That's it. There is no doubt, I think. All right. Okay. So with this, let me wind up the session for all of you. Let me wind up the session. Thank you, all of you. Have a nice day.